All right, everyone. Welcome to the Wynn to Scott report on Utefans.net. I'm Andy Brown, and we're joined today by former Utah quarterback Jordan Wynn and former Utes wide receiver Kenneth Scott. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
What's up, man?
So, Jordan Wynn, Utah quarterback from 2009 to 2012. What are you up to these days?
Yeah, so man, it seems like it was so long ago now, but I live in Holiday, Utah. Just down the road from the school, not too far. Married to my wife Brittany, and we just had our first child. Eli's 4 months old, and I work in medical device sales out in the valley here and all over Salt Lake. And it's wild to still be here. Never thought I'd actually settle here, and here I am, and I love it, and probably not going anywhere. So happy to start this. Happy to do episode 1.
Boom.
And Kenneth Scott, the Dark Knight, Utah wide receiver from 2010 to 2015. What are you up to these days?
Yeah, I'm married to my wife, Brittany. Don't worry, they're different Brittany's.
We need to get the Brittany's on the show one time.
Totally different Brittany's from, Jordan got a different Brittany and I got a different Brittany. Just let that clear, right? It's the same Brittany. But married to Brittany. I got 2 children, 2 girls. One's birthday is today, which we celebrated, which is freaking awesome. But just like Jay Wynn said, I'm in the sales division, it's B2B sales, outside sales, which I love because it brings that same passion, the same energy as in football. So that's what I'm up to nowadays. I got a team of 9 who goes out and do consulting with the Fortune 100 and Fortune 200 businesses out here in Houston, Texas. So
awesome.
It's a different change.
Town.
So 2 very memorable Utes that we have here. We're privileged to have them on tonight. So we're going to review the Stanford Utah matchup from this past Friday. Jordan, what are your initial thoughts on the game?
I mean, I think, kind of probably similar to everyone's. It was just a drudging from the get-go. I think obviously the run game was super efficient and effective. The offense looked extremely efficient. I mean, coming right out of the gate with a good drive to score a touchdown. I think the defense, I think at one point I looked up at my TV and it was like 300 total yards to -10 total yards for Stanford, somewhere along those lines. So the defense did what they needed to do. They got 2 turnovers. One, the pick 6 with Devin Lloyd. That was maybe one of the most incredible plays I've ever seen. And so I thought all around, man, it was just a great game. As an alum and as a fan of watching them, it was just fun to watch. And I'm just excited. I'm excited about the team and what's going to happen over the next few weeks.
Yeah, Kenneth, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I'm kind of on the same line with Jay Wynn, man. The offense, obviously, they did really extremely well. One area, which I wish they would have done a little bit better in, but obviously you can't do it that well once you have these 3 monsters in the backfield just running for God knows career worth type yardage. They did really well offensively. Defensively, they're going to do what they do. Morgan Scalley drew up a great script with disguising coverages and things of that nature. I seen the way he was I love the way Scalley does everything on defense. It was just magnificent the way they do it. And special teams, little video game, Covey doing what he does, getting those, extended yardage when it comes to those punt returns. And so thought the game went extremely well on all phases, but looking forward to the next coming weeks, I say, so we can finally get the championship we deserve.
Yes, sir.
So Utah had a big night on the ground. They had one of the best rushing games in Utah history. Tavion Thomas, amazing, led the squad with 177 yards and 4 touchdowns, upping his season rushing touchdown total to 14. So that puts Thomas at just 1 away from tying the school single season record. So Jordan and I looked it up. It was John White and Zach Moss both have 15 rushing touchdowns in a single season. So he's only 2 away from breaking it. On Friday, he averaged almost 9 yards a carry. Both Mika Bernard and TJ Pledger had over 100 yards rushing. So this marked the first time in school history that the Utes had 3 rushers reach the century mark in one game. Of course, you can't forget Pledger's 96-yard touchdown. That's the longest ever from scrimmage at Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So question about, there's been a lot of concern about the offensive line this season. What do you guys think about their progress? Jordan.
Hey, look, it's funny. This is crazy. So you go back 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and I think everybody was, calling for Harding's head, saying the O-line was awful. This was going to be a down year, yada, yada, yada. And then you just fast forward to now and you look at the last 2 weeks. I mean, even the last 3 weeks is what's happening. And it's just what a change. I don't think there's no magic sauce that these guys took. It's they stuck with the same 5 guys and really let them grow. And this is what happens. All 5 guys, I mean, K Scott, when we played, like, we had good offensive linemen, right? But like these 5, they just look different. The guys Utah gets now, they just look different. And I mean, it's showing. They're running the ball. Everybody knows when you play Utah, they're going to try and run the football. And I mean, we ran it all night, Friday night. I mean, have 440 yards rushing, like you said, 3 backs over 100. Thomas has 8 touchdowns in the last 2. I mean, this is crazy. And it's fun to watch. It's impressive. It's completely opens up the whole offense. I know Cam didn't have to do a lot Friday night because of the running game, but it really does open up everything. And again, hopefully it just continues these last 3 games and finishes with something awesome.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with Jay Wynn on that, man. Just watching that freaking offensive line, the dudes was downfield like 10 yards, just throwing people into the ground. I'm like, how much syrup do you put on those pancakes? Like, what other toppings do you put? Like, you know what I'm saying? They just, I said, dang. And then like Tavion, like I seen him his first like start in fall camp when I went out there for the first week. I'm like, dude, who is this dude? Like, where'd y'all get here from? Like, it was like, I remember Reggie Dunn pulled me. It was like, oh, that's the new guy. Wait till you see him in pass. I'm like, all right, let's see. First pass, this dude ran over somebody so crucial. I said, oh my God. And then like seeing him and then Michael Bernard, like I think he has so much value to Utah, not only just in the running game, but in the passing game as well, because he's like our top receiver. It's crazy. Yep. And then freaking Pleasure, Mr. Speedy Gonzalez, dude, when he's stiff on the dude and still like maintained his stride, I'm like, boy, where you learn that from? And so it's like our running game is crazy. And like what Wynn, what Jordan was talking about in the beginning, as far as like the massiveness in the old line, the dude, bam, man, I must have had bumped into him. I like when I was at fall camp, I must have bumped into him and I had to apologize. I'm like, dude, I don't want no parts of anything. I'm sorry. The dude is like the nicest guy ever. Like, oh no, you're okay. Because he's not from England. So yeah. You're like, no, you're okay. You don't have to worry. I'm like, damn, God dang, this dude is huge. So like they doing well. Coach Harden is prepping them boys up. I know Nick Ford is being a great leader out there on the offensive front and getting those guys rallied up. So, you know what I mean? Is you can run the ball, shoot, man. The sky's the limit for the offense.
It's crazy. Rising hasn't been sacked in a month.
God,
yeah,
dog.
That's nice. That's nice. That's fun. That's fun for QBs.
Yeah. So speaking of Rising, we have to talk about his performance. He was 13 for 22 for 140 yards. He had a 112.5 passer rating. Thoughts on his performance, Jordan?
I thought he was solid. Again, I don't know how much he really had to do in this game. I think he does a good job of being efficient. The one downside was that fumble with the botched snap. That was kind of a weird play. I wish somehow he could have gotten on it or even like almost pushed out of bounds. I don't know, but I thought he played super well. He does a good job. In Ludd's offense, there's a lot of audibles, a lot of things to get in and out of. It's pretty easy to tell, at least for, watching from my perspective. You can tell when he's checking in and out of plays by the hand signals that he gives and things like that. And he's doing a good job. I think he's a good player. I think, it's crazy. This is only his seventh start, I think, as a Ute. He had the one last year, and I think he had 5 or 6 now this year. So, I mean, the guy is only going to keep getting better. This is so far from the ceiling for him. And that's promising, and that's really exciting. And so again, I'm pumped for him. I think he does a great job, and hopefully he continues to do so.
Yeah, for real though.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kenneth.
Yeah, that boy got that 09 Jay Wynn swag out there. But no, not that 09. Maybe no. He got that swag that Jay Wynn got when he started growing his hair out.
Man, that's the long hair. The long hair. He got the mop.
Yeah, he had that Aaron Rodgers hair flow.
Mop top.
So that was the most points. We put up 52 points. That's the most points they put up all season. Stanford, we have to point out they had some key injuries. One of them being their starting quarterback. Big question though is Utah's offense in the driver's seat now?
Man, it seems like they had more than one injury. It looked like they fans had injuries too. They ain't had nobody in the stands.
Nobody there. Dozens of screaming fans.
I was like, Jesus. And not only players, the fans is injured. But no, I think they offense, man, they've grown so much, man. More efficient. Just like Jay was saying, man, the offense is growing, man. It's fun to watch. Like putting up points like that was 40 at halftime. Like, Jesus Christ. I honestly thought like we was going to score 70, 80 points. Once we get our passing game going, oh, it's going to be a wrap. Oh my God. But I mean, that's going to come. But I'm just excited for the offense as a whole, that like how much they've been growing. I still think like, man, if Cam Rising would have started the season, how much different, those first couple of games would have went. But I think they're growing though. I think they were going to get to the point where people are going to be like, oh shoot, this team is crazy. Like they wouldn't have no doubt about Utah in all phases.
It's pretty crazy. This case guy, I don't know. I don't remember this, but I've never seen Coach Witt allow the offense to get the ball off the coin toss. Said offense. Never in my 4 years there, never for sure. Defense always
defense.
Always.
Yep.
That's a sign, man. He trusts him now. He likes it. Let him go.
Mm-hmm.
So let's segue into the defense. We're talking about the defense. As mentioned, starting Stanford quarterback Tanner McKee was out. With him, the Cardinal ranked third in the Pac-12 in passing yards. However, they only averaged 92 rushing yards per game, and Utah certainly had their number Friday. Stanford only gained 5 rushing yards and just 28 yards of total offense in the first half, finishing with 83 total rushing yards and 168 total offensive yards. Utah had 14 tackles for loss and 5 sacks, forcing 2 turnovers. And as usual, Devin Lloyd was the star of the show, even scoring a 2-yard pick six. So 2 questions. Just how good is Devin Lloyd?
Incredible.
Yeah, one word, incredible.
Yeah, I mean phenomenal. the guy is built. I mean, he's big, he's long, he's fast. Like he's got all the size and speed you want, and then you can tell he's been in the program for a while. He's got really high level IQ, and then the dude just makes plays. Like I said, that interception is incredible. I was just reading it. He said it was. He was what was the word? He couldn't believe that it stuck to his hands or something. I was like, yes, I guess, but you look like you just went up and said,
natural.
Give me that.
Kenneth, what do you think? Devin Lloyd.
The guy's a natural. I had a fight with someone, not a physical fight, just like a verbal fight. They were like, man, is he the best ever? And I was thinking about it, like, man, I played with like Jibo. Like he was very instinctive, like very good. Jared Norris was very good. And I never got to see Sly or anything, but I was like, man, the dude is like, he reminds me of how instinctive Jibo is, how smart Jared Norris is, how athletic, because people underestimate Chase Hansen's like athleticness. Like Chase was very athletic. But he moves at the linebacker spot as like a strong safety. Like the guy is very athletic and very natural and smooth. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say he's a top linebacker right now. I'm sorry to all the fans out there who may think Sly is or Gianni or whoever. I don't care. But I think D. Lloyd has that top spot, especially if he goes top 10 this year in the draft.
And second question, has Utah's defense found their groove, or is Stanford just uncharacteristically bad? What do you think, Kenneth?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. It was surprising to me to see Stanford look like that. I was like, nah, this can't be it. They must be in a rebuilding year or something. But it was surprising to me to see Stanford that bad, especially because they beat Oregon. I'm like, man, like, I don't know what happened. It was surprising to me how they looked at night. Were we just overly dominant or something? But it was surprising to me, to say the least, honestly.
Jordan?
Yeah, I think obviously they were missing Tanner McKee, right? I think he's a pretty solid trigger guy, and obviously when the QB goes down, it's always tough. But yeah, I think obviously you go into that game as a Utah defense and think, okay, let's make West beat us, or the other cat that they had come in as well, the dual threat guy. But usually Stanford can at least move the ball and run the football. And I know historically, at least with us in those matchups, it's usually a kind of like slug it out, grind it out, fist fight for 4 quarters. And that wasn't the case, which was kind of weird. Again, yeah, I don't know. I know they were missing some guys. Shaw said that they had some injuries and things like that. But just to see, I mean, even just not being able to run the football. And I know that's our deal, is stopping the run, right? Like that's always what Coach Witt's going to want to do. But yeah, it was interesting to watch just a complete, demolishing of Stanford. And again, coming off of Oregon, that was, I think, 4 weeks ago. They've lost all 4 since that game, and I remember watching that one, and they looked great in that game. I was like, dang, this is a pretty good Stanford team. They're going to do something in the North, and it'll be tough when we got to go there. And it just wasn't the case Friday night for whatever reason.
So we have to cover special teams. This was a good game for special teams.
Right.
It's been an unusual weak spot for these this season, no doubt. Jaden Redding was back in action after disappointing performances by Jordan Noyes in the Oregon State and UCLA games. Redding did make a 29-yard field goal at the end of the first half, made all 7 extra points. There's no question that there are a lot of uneasy feelings when the Utes have to kick a field goal, though, that's for sure. Britton Covey was Britton Covey. Fielded four punts for 42 yards, including a 16-yard return. Utah only punted 1 time on Friday. And special teams appear to do their job at the farm. Any particular thoughts on special teams for this Utah squad?
The one thing that showed up for me is Michael Bernard on special teams. He was just like manhandling that one guy and just threw him out of bounds all into the kicker's net.
Oh yeah.
It's just that part of it. Like, these guys really want it no matter what phase it's in. Like, I seen Solomon Enos on punt. Like, these guys are getting after it. The punt return team is just, they're out there really so that Covey can really get the shine. And you can see him like busting their butt, busting their tail, just like trying to make some type of impact so that, someone else can, like Covey or somebody else can, relish in that moment for him. And so it's pretty awesome to see as far as the effort piece, because Coach Witt loves his special teams, and that's the first way to get in on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's how you get in. I thought they were fine. I think special teams is kind of one of those deals where it's like, if there's nothing really newsworthy, that's good. There's no missed field goal that was short. There was no kickoff return for a touchdown that we allowed, which had been plaguing us for a while. Covey's Covey, right? He's one of the better returners in the country. He does a great job of making the first guy miss, which is how you really pop a run on punt return. You got to make the first guy miss. He does that almost every time. So
he got that from me.
Man, he really is video game Covey. He's electric. But no, again, I think in weeks past, the special teams has kind of been a negative, and I think Friday night it was just fine. It was positive. They didn't do anything spectacular. I think the Bernard play, pushing that dude into the net, that was pretty spectacular. But in terms of points and things like that, they did their job, and that's what you want. And you move on and get ready for this week.
So the moment we've all been waiting for, Jordan, what's the winning moment of this game? WYNN.
We need like a graphic. The winning moment. Hey, look, it's hard to really pick one. Initially, when K. Scott mentioned let's do the winning moment, I was like the coin toss, because Witt let us get the ball first and we scored, and that was it. Like, that was from there on. It was we were in the driver's seat. I'd say probably the TJ Pledger 96-yard touchdown run, right? Like, you do that. It's the second quarter. Stanford, you get them kind of pinned deep. And first play, just outside zone, see ya, gone, game. I mean, that's so demoralizing. Like, any chance, any idea that Stanford had, even maybe trying to scrap and claw their way back into the game, was completely erased in that moment, which is crazy in the second quarter of a Pac-12 game that's the winning moment. But for this week, I think that, without question, that was probably, the moment where it was pretty out of reach. The Devin Lloyd pick 6 was incredible, but the game was so out of hand already at that point. Like, I wouldn't consider that the winning moment, but that Pleasure run, it was man, I mean, longest ever. Incredible.
So let's jump into next week versus Arizona. What are we expecting?
I would say, honestly, the same thing you saw this week.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing. But not Arizona, even though they're 1-8. I remember watching them against San Diego State. You know, they had a good receiver out there. I think his name's Benny Hill, Barry Hill, some Hill. He's an okay receiver out there. And so we just got to limit his playmaking ability on the outside. You know, Arizona's not doing this too well. So we have to make sure that we don't stoop to their level. You know, and it's at Arizona. It's an away game. So, of course, they're going to be like, oh, this is our house. They're going to be juiced. They're going to be amped. Doesn't even matter that they're 1-8. They're going to be juiced because it's a kind of upsetting. And they're coming off a win. You know, they're on a high. So I'm hoping we don't go in there and be like, oh, they're 1-8. They're going to lay down for us because, you know, Arizona, you know, you see in the Pac-12, you just never know any week. Anybody can get beat. So I'm expecting to win, but I hope that we come out and truly dominate like we're supposed to.
Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's I wouldn't say it's a trap game by any means, but it's definitely one that can't be overlooked, especially with Oregon next week. And yeah, just like K. Scott said, Arizona's coming off a win. You know, they got scholarship guys too. You know, we used to always say that in the building. They got scholarship guys too. And they're a Pac-12 school. They got Pac-12 guys that got recruited by Pac-12 schools. And, you know, and that was the biggest difference from moving in the Mountain West to the Pac-12 was anybody can be anybody. And if you walk in and think we're just going to walk all over these guys, it doesn't matter. I mean, they got good players. So, you know, similar to Friday, you got to come out and really just set the tone early. And, you know, just from my perspective, you play teams like this, and if you can get up on them and set the tone early, in Arizona's minds, it's oh, here we go again. This is a bad year, et cetera, versus if you let them hang around and it's the third quarter and they're still in it, and it's the fourth quarter and still in it, and they start getting a little bit of confidence, that's when bad things happen. So I mean, I see a big Utah win, like a 49-7 type game. That's really what it should on paper. That's what it looks like, right? But that's why you play the game. So again, hopefully they come out fast, come out aggressive, and get a win.
So we talked about trap games a little bit there. I'm gonna skip Oregon just for a second. Is Colorado a trap game? I mean, that's our rival, right? I mean, it's been a trap game before.
In 2011, they trapped us. We were on our way to the Pac-12 championship at home.
Oh my God!
Their seniors in 11 had never won a road game, and they came in here to beat us. So it could be. I mean, it very well could be. I think at that point, you know, if we do win the next two, you look at the national picture. I would imagine that we would come out pretty hot in that one and play, you know, from the get-go with knowing that there's a lot on the line. But it could be. And that's the Pac-12, everybody beats everybody. It's almost every week is a trap. You know, it doesn't matter. It's a tough league. It really is.
It's super tough. And man, you just opened up a big old scab wound. That 2011
Coleman Peterson.
I didn't want to say no names. I didn't say it. AB said it. I didn't want to say it.
Man.
Golly. Yeah, we should have won that game. But luckily, man, we're at home, luckily. And it seemed like every game we played against Colorado, it's been sort of tight-knit, tight to the wire type game. But, man, I just hope, you know, after that Oregon game, whether it's a win or a loss, you know, it just doesn't drag on to the next week and something happens. And so, man, luckily we have Oregon and Colorado at home, so that would be good. But, man, dang, you just blew my mind with that 2011 game. Man, I'm still pissed.
I was up in the booth with Norm drinking hot chocolate going, what's going on down there? He's looking back at me like, what's happening right now? And I'm like, you're the play caller. You tell me what's going on. I got a bowl of chili on the way right now. Like, what are you asking me for? Man, that was rough. But what are you, first year in the Pac-12 and we had a chance. It'll be interesting. I think can't overlook this week though. Got to take care of U of A. Got to go down to Tucson and get a win and win big to go into that one the following week against the Ducks and keep the momentum going.
So the big question for the Utes this season apparently is whether or not they can play with Oregon. And it's highly likely that the Utes will have to play them twice. And it's hard for any team to beat the same squad in that same time proximity. So is what are you guys' thoughts on the Utah versus Oregon matchups? And is Utah bound for a lower tier bowl?
Do we want Utah to beat them the first time, or
Yeah.
do we, like how? Because I'm trying to set my ticket to go to California for that Rose Bowl.
I'm smelling roses.
Me too. What's the logical play here? Because I'm trying to book my ticket. So what's the logical play?
Man, it's obviously we'd like to beat them twice, right? Like that's the goal. I mean, I think we match up well with them just from a talent perspective. I think they do a good job of spreading us out. Offensively, they do a good job spreading us out, and they've always kind of done that to us, and that's kind of always been something that we have a tough time with, especially with the athletes they get. And then defensively, I mean, 2 or 3 years ago with Thibodeau off the edge, his freshman year, just completely, I mean, he was a one-man show. I think that was probably the best chance we had of winning the Pac-12 that year. Like going into that game, we were heavy favorites. I mean, again, anything can happen. It's hard to beat a team twice, just like you said. I would imagine, it's in Vegas, so it'll be a somewhat Utah heavy crowd. I'm sure Oregon will still travel well, but again, this year, the way I've watched quite a few games of Oregon, and they are not the same Oregon team that beat Ohio State in Ohio State. They've been week in and week out grinding out wins in not great fashion. I know they're ranked in the top 4 right now, and they're a good team. They're Oregon. They're always going to be good, but man, I watch them and I watch us, the way we're trending and the way they're trending. I like where we're at.
And it's crazy. I was looking at ESPN earlier, and ESPN has us beating Oregon. I think we're like 63% winning that game. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So, man, it's a chance for sure, without a doubt.
I saw the two projections from ESPN today were us both. I forget the 2 writers. Both of them had us playing Michigan State in the Rose Bowl, and one had Oregon in the playoff. One had Oregon in the Alamo Bowl, I think. So one guy thinks we'll beat them twice. One guy thinks we won't, and they'll go to the playoffs. So, man, either way, K. Scott, we go back to Southern California.
I'm going.
Man, the Utes. I've been telling my Brittany, she's like, okay, I'm in. Let's get tickets. She said we gotta go to the Rose Parade. I was like, I'll go to the Rose Parade if we're going to the Rose Parade.
Oh man, I might hit up Disneyland.
Man, seriously.
Man. Well, thanks for joining us on the Wynn to Scott postgame show. Thanks, Kenneth. Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next week after the Arizona game.
See you guys.